So all fat is excess. What is it an excess of? There are three possibilities. The 36-hour fast seems to have that thing that will unstick you. Okay, so let's talk about fat. So what is fat? Fat is your body doesn't know where to put the excess. So what it does is it stores it as fat. And usually one of the first places it will put it is around your belly. And then for women, a lot of times it will go into our chest. And then it'll go like around your booty, and then eventually it goes up into your back. So actually women have sort of a formula in which we store fat. So all fat is excess. So for Terry, what she's got to figure out is what is it an excess of? There are three possibilities. One is it could be an excess of glucose. So I would say first thing you want to do is clean your 68. So you're postmenopausal. The first thing we want to do is clean your diet up. Get off the refined flours, the refined sugars, the bad oils. We talked about that. I have lists in all of my books on this. So let's get off those first. Those are synthetic foods. They're high in glucose. So now what your body is doing is that it doesn't have that extra glucose to store. So you stop the excess. Okay, second thing your body could be storing in fat could be toxins. So this is a big one. I wrote about it in Age Like a Girl. I've also written a lot about it in my very first book on menopause that I wrote years ago called The Menopause Reset. As we age, our toxins start to reveal themselves a little more. We start to see where we may be full of toxins. Our detox pathways get harder to work with. And so what we need to be able to do is minimize our toxic load. So this means not just food, but let's look at endocrine disrupting toxins. And the easiest one to look at are your beauty products. So let's make sure that your beauty products are all natural. Natural beauty products have gotten much easier and less expensive to buy. So I like an app. You can get an app on your phone. One is called Think Dirty. It's a cute name. And you scan all your products and see if they're toxic. I always used to tell my patients, I would have them go and scan all the products, and I would say that if a product scores a 3 or higher on the Think Dirty app, then you want to throw it out. So let's make sure that the toxic load is under control. And then the third thing it can be, and then I'm going to teach you we're going to talk about burning it. The third thing that it could be is the back fat and the extra weight. It could be synthetic estrogens. It could be, I've even seen people who go on HRT that start to have this extra hormonal toxins that get stored in fat. But you know what a good example of this is, have you ever seen men with the pot belly and the man boobs? Those are that's estrogen. That's synthetic estrogen. Sometimes you can get that from alcohol. So let's start to look at those synthetic estrogens and see what we can do to minimize that. So there's your three categories that we gotta keep glucose low, we gotta keep your toxic load low, and we gotta make sure that the synthetic estrogens and endocrine disruptors are at a minimum. If that's taken care of, then what we would look at, you said you were doing HIIT training, so awesome. I would love to see if you're fasting. Are you actually starting to fast on a regular basis? So you can do like the 5-1-1. I even encourage you, if you're used to fasting, go into some of the longer fasts. So with Fast Like a Girl, I really emphasized that the 36-hour fast, from my clinical experience, and then we saw it within our online world, the 36-hour fast seems to have that thing that will unstick your weight. Because 36, and it was based off research, you can read about it in the book, that at the 36th hour, the body's like, okay, no food's coming in. I think I stored food somewhere else. And so it goes to fat and it starts to burn fat. Now, other really good strategies. If you want to burn fat, let's hope you're sleeping. You prioritize sleep because you burn fat at night. That is a fat burning time. And so I don't know about you, but I'd like to burn more fat at night. So you want to have good quality sleep. Second thing is you really want to work on stress levels. I don't know what your stress levels are like, but at 68, I hope they're low. And you want to, if you have a high stress life, it's hard to drop weight. And then one of my favorite strategies that I used to tell my patients all the time is after every meal you eat, go for a walk. And the reason that's important is then you're using the glucose from that sugar burner system, you're using it for energy. And so you're not storing it. Whatever you don't use, you will store. So hopefully that will help, or that helps. Okay, Barbie wants to know, what advice would you give to help find best ways to test hormones and metabolic systems in order to best support with or without HRT? Okay, let's talk about testing for hormones. There are two real standard ways. Actually, I'm going to give you three because I have one that I really love right now that I've been using with some of the patients I've been working with. So, first we have blood. That's what most doctors will do. And if you have a good OB, ask if you go in if they can take your blood and tell you what your numbers, like what they look like. I just did this with my OB. I wasn't sure I wanted to go on testosterone. I had tried testosterone hormone replacement before, and it made me really angry. And so I wasn't sure I wanted to go on it. I wanted my blood work to tell me. So my blood work didn't tell me I needed to be on it, and I had gone on it, which is probably why I was angry. So we kept testing my blood work, and once testosterone went down, she was like, okay, I'm going to put you on a minimal amount. So blood, and then we've been testing my estrogen now pretty closely for a couple of years, and we finally found the dose I'm actually using a gel that is perfect for me, that keeps my estradiol specifically levels at bay. So if you have a good, or in check, I should say, if you have a good OB that'll work with you, that's a great strategy. It's a strategy. It's not the only strategy. The other strategy that I like, and we've done hundreds of thousands of these, I mean so many of these in my clinic, in my online world, is a dried urinary test, and it's called the Dutch test. Now, the Dutch test is telling you more than just your hormone amounts. Your Dutch test would tell you if you had the right, if your adrenals were off, so it gives you an adrenal profile. It will tell you what your liver's doing. It will tell you if you have enough melatonin. It doesn't just do sex hormones. It will tell you if you're a good methylator, which basically is a fancy term for are you able to detox well. And probably the most life-saving thing that the Dutch test will tell you is it will tell you how estrogen is breaking down. It's called a metabolite. And it'll tell you your estrogen metabolites. And so you can know if you're building toxic estrogen. You can see if you need to eat more phytoestrogens or more fiber to bring up your protective estrogen. From a lifestyle lens, the Dutch test is really helpful. And for me personally, I use them both. So once a year I do a Dutch just to see where I'm at. And then me and my OB are working together. We've been, for the last couple of years, doing regular blood tests. Those are the best. Now I'm going to throw in a third one that I just found. So for years, I was like, gosh, those CGMs, we put these CGMs, the continuous glucose monitors, on the back of people's arms, and people could actually see what a meal was doing to their blood sugar. That is if you haven't tried that, it's one of the greatest tools I have ever seen for helping you understand your relationship to food and if you're making the right food choices. And I kept thinking, why don't we have something like that for hormones? Like, wouldn't you just scan it and just be like, okay, this is what I'm low in estrogen today. Here's the lifestyle I need to be working on. Well, a company came up with something as close to that as possible, and it's called OOVA. And it's my team, hopefully will put a link in here. It's OOVA. You can check them out. And I have several of the patients I'm currently working with doing this, where you pee on a strip every morning and you put it into a little reader and it tells you your hormone profile. So you might, Barbie, try that if you want to get if you're into self-science and you want to see where you're at, check that product out. But what I love about Barbie's comment, and I think this is really important, is that right now you all are getting the message of fear, that if you do not take HRT, that your brain will suffer. And I don't like fear messages. They always make me skeptical, to be honest. But I just don't, I want to be empowered. I don't want to be feared. I don't want to be scared into doing something. So what Barbie's doing is critical thinking. She's like, okay, how can I look at testing so I can see if I need it? And bravo, Barbie, I hope that helped. But that's how we get out of this fear culture, because menopause has gotten, God, it's like everybody is just saying HRT, HRT, HRT. And I think we need to critically think a little bit more and decide if it's right for you. And I definitely know we need to think about lifestyle with a little more a menopausal lifestyle, an aging lifestyle, which is why I wrote this book. Okay, next questions. So Lori wants to know, first time on a live. Thank you, Lori. I'm going to tell you a little behind the scenes on the live. I was in clinical practice for 30 years. We saw hundreds of patients in my clinic. I love people. I love hugging people. I love cheering people on. I love being on people's health journey with them. And now I write books and do videos. And we have a membership academy. It's called the Reset Academy, where I interact with our members there. But I miss chatting with you all. I miss hearing how I can help you. So thank you for being here, Lori. I hope you find value here. And I'll be here every Tuesday. Okay, so the question she has is, does the 5-1-1 fasting plan need to be done in sequence? The week began naturally with 21 and 16-hour fasts. Great question.
Okay, check this out. I have a free fasting guide for you all. It's free, and it's going to teach you all the basics of fasting. It's going to teach you how to kill hunger when you fast, which is really cool, and it's going to show you how to break your fast, among many other things. All you got to do is click on the link below and enjoy.
So what Lori's referring to is in my book, Fast Like a Girl, which if you haven't gotten it, we sold over 1 million copies of this book. And everything you need to know about fasting and different protocols and the science behind fasting for women is in here. So check that book out if you don't have it. And in it, I put different protocols. I talk about 5-1-1, 4-2-1, 3-3-1. In the back, for those of you who have the book that may not know, that I put all the protocols that I used in my practice. Like here's a protocol on chronic fatigue. Here's one on type 2 diabetes. So thyroid conditions, autoimmune conditions, all the protocols that I saw work over time. So 5-1-1 is a maintenance fasting plan. So it's 5 days a week. You do your comfortable fast. 1 day a week, you push your fast. I'd like to see you get to 24 hours where you're just eating 1 meal a day. And then 1 day a week, you don't fast. So it's called a 5-1-1, and when people would hit sort of a maintenance level with fasting, this is what we would recommend. So to answer your question, Lori, it doesn't have to be consecutive. You get to splice it up however you want. I can tell you for me, the way I used to do it, the way I liked to do it, was on Sundays when my kids were living in our house. Our kids we're empty nesters now, so they're 25 and 23, so they're not around. But Sunday was like family day. We would go to the farmer's market, we would have a nice brunch together, and then in the evening we would have a family dinner. My parents would come over. I was not fasting on that day. So that was my no fast day. But then Monday at my clinic was the busiest day of the whole week. And so that would be my 1 meal a day. So I would have a feast day, and then I would have my 1 meal a day, and then the rest of the week was comfortable fasting. You spin it however you want. So great question.
Okay, where are my gals that are struggling with hormonal imbalance? Bloated, feeling like you're not making progress with weight loss? You need to add these foods in so that you can support better hormonal health. There is a lifestyle that estrogen wants you to live, and there's a lifestyle that progesterone wants you to live.